Okay, so in 6.1, we're going to be starting our discussion with square roots. So if you'll remember, when we talk about raising a number to the second power, we refer to this process as squaring. So if we want to reverse that process, let me go ahead and fill that in a little bit better so you can read that. Now, if we want to reverse that process, we call that finding the square root of a number. So for example, if I asked you what the square roots of 25 were, you might come up with one pretty quick. You would probably come up with 5 first. So 5 is a square root of 25 because 5 squared has a value of 25. Now, the one you might have a little bit of trouble kind of realizing is that it also has a negative square root. And the reason for that is because negative 5 quantity squared, right? That's negative 5 times negative 5. If we go all the way back to what does it mean to square a number, that means that we multiply it repeatedly twice. That also has a value of 25. So the square roots of 25 are both 5 and negative 5. And so this is going to lead us into a few properties of square roots. So I want to make this very clear. Every positive real number, so be very clear with that we're just talking about every positive real number has two real number square roots. So we call our non-negative square root the principal square root. So in this example up above, we would denote 5 as that principal square root because 5 is that square root of 25. Now the negative square root was negative 5, and we denote that with a negative outside our root symbol. So we have a principal square root and a negative square root. So I just want you to kind of keep in mind that that principal square root is always what this plain square root symbol is after. So that square root symbol on your calculator, whenever you use that square root symbol in that calculator, you are telling your calculator to look for the non-negative square root. So, and I'm using that phrase non-negative because of this property number 2, but just kind of keep that in mind that if you want your calculator to give you the negative square root, you have to pop a negative in front of that square root symbol. Otherwise, if you simply type in the square root of 25, it's only ever going to return to you that value of 5. Okay, so the number 0 has only one square root, and that is itself. So we would say that the square root of 0 is 0. And that's why I had to say, I couldn't say that the principal square root denoted the positive root, because here we're using our principal square root symbol, and we have a value of 0, and 0 is neither positive nor negative. So this principal square root symbol, right, that symbol without the negative symbol in front of it, will always give you the non-negative square root. So if we want to be able to find that negative square root value, we're going to have to put a negative in front of our square root symbol in our calculator. Okay, and then last property here that we're going to discuss about square roots is that negative numbers do not have real number square roots. So remember, we know what a real number is. We're talking about our natural numbers. Add the 0 to that, you get your whole numbers. You've got the negatives of those natural numbers. So we've got integers, We formed fractions with those integers, so that's our rational numbers. And then we've got those irrational numbers coming along as well. So negative numbers do not have real number square roots. So if we were, for example, if I were to ask you, what is the square root of negative 36? At this stage, where we are in our studies, you would simply tell me that this is a non-real answer, as in it does not have a real number value. In college algebra, once you move into that college algebra class, you will define the square root of a negative number, but it's not going to be real. All right, that's the end of that one, and I'll see you in the next one.